That's the goal, at least. To get as much practice, as much testing as we can. And here we go, we're getting to our fresh series, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Blue Protoss player from the land of Peru. It is Mute. El Peruano. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. SHIN is going to be favored, one of the big favorites to maybe even win the entire tournament. But Mute, he can pose a threat. He is a solo player in his own right. And we'll see how he compares as we are loading into Ultra Love. Now, what I will say is that there are some fun features and some fun visual quirks of this map. The big one, of course, being the massive void zones that we have here between the bases. Likewise, we have these kind of like ethereal ley lines that are also going through and like permeating throughout the entire map. So visually it is very appealing. Like it's really cool. Vortex, that's what I was looking for, not void. But we have like the vortex visuals all over the place and kind of the rivers of ether. As we are settling in. Again, with some of the big features of this map is the fact that we have a ramp coming into the natural. It's quite a narrow ramp as well. And speaking of ramps, I mean, there's a lot of choke points. There's a lot of choke points here. There's a lot of ramps as well to take advantage of, to wall off and wall up. It's actually been quite some time since we've had destructible towers. I just realized, I think it's been a couple of seasons, if not a couple of years, since we have had these towers. I mean, I say that, I guess technically we had towers on altitude, true. If you remember, there was some towers that you could knock down to destroy the Zelnaga tower. Speaking of, hello tower. But I think this one is just a wall off. But I guess technically we had them on altitude, but like we rarely played on altitude anyway. We rarely casted on it. Didn't count, Pappy, didn't count. But you can knock down that tower. You can fully wall off here at the third location. And likewise, you can wall off here towards the center of the map as well. So, a lot of walling, a lot of SimCity. So, I would imagine that this is a prime map to slow the game down and try to force a late game, especially in a matchup like ZvT. In ZvP, we'll see. It also feels the case as well. Especially with this triangular third base being so secure, I don't really see Queen Walks or Roach All-Ins working too well on this map. So I do think Protoss players can slow the game down. But now, Void Ray is going to be a Void Ray opener for Mute. With that, he can hunt down the Overlords. Oh, we even have like a Cosmic Storm in the back. Oh my god, like look at that! It looks nice. Like visually. I'm going to veto this map, but still. Whenever I'm casting. It's crazy. The Overlord just experiencing a light show. I don't think we've ever seen this effect on maps before. It's really cool. Meanwhile, Lings are moving out. Lings do move out. Oh god, we even have narrow bridges as well. Jesus. They do go for the third. There is only the one Adept here, so the third base is exposed, is vulnerable. Void Ray out of position, and it looks like Mute is going to be forced to cancel. There's a cancel on the Nexus. Lings, they move out, so they rotate towards the natural. Don't quite find a way in. And Mute is rushing into Skytoss. Yeah, I thought this would happen. I mentioned before that, again, this map is quite defendable because of that. Fleet Beacon, second Stargate, rushing in towards either Carrier or Tempest. It makes sense. It does make sense here for Mute. Meanwhile, SHIN back at home, droning up, throwing down a safety Roach Warren. Saturating his bases, spreading creep. Lings, they hit the third base once again. Another cancel. Massive pig off. Second cancel here on the third. Massive delay. SHIN achieving a lot with a little here. And despite the fact that Mute is attempting to turtle up, he's struggling. He is limping his way into the mid game. Rocks are being knocked down, or at least the tower is walling up. Tempest production has begun. once again, he threatens another Ling run by. And these are efficient trades. 2 cancellations, 2 zealots, an adept earlier, a pylon. So in good value here for Shin. Now, he hasn't seen much in the main. Shin, he is in the dark. He can make assumptions, though. Like, the fact that there are no additional Adept Warpins and no additional Void Ray, no Oracle, that all screams Sky Toss. It all screams Fleet Beacon. But Shin does not have confirmation. Not yet. That's another Zealot Warpin. Once again, that is a tell. The fact that we're warping in Zealots means that, of course, Mute is preserving his gas. Preserving his gas for what? We know it's Sky Toss. And Shin can also make that kind of deduction as well. And there it is, Spire. Yeah. Shin, again, even though he hasn't seen directly the Sky Toss based on these Warpins, based on the setup here at the 3rd, he knows. So Spire is on the way. 4th base as well. We can see Shin making some safety roaches. Like, technically, this could also be a charge all-in. True. Could be a charge all-in based on what Shin has seen. So he is amassing up some roaches just in case. He can always morph them into Ravagers. They can still support against the Sky Toss army with those piles. 4th base being taken. All the gases being saturated as well. And Mute is banking up those Tempest. Since I hate the layout, love the aesthetic. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like, it's a very, like, aesthetic map, like a aesthetically pleasing map. It looks good. I'm never gonna play on it, but it looks good. But it looks good. As here we go, the Tempest, they do reveal themselves, they do move out, making their way towards the 4th. Spire is done. Tempest have arrived, they do catch a Queen. Queen goes down, the base under fire as well. No Corruptors yet. The Queen's able to zone away, but that is a lot of Tempest. That's 6 Tempests here, 4 Mutes, and he can one-shot. Is one-shotting those Queens. Queens are going down. The hatchery as well. Good PiGosaur here by Mute. Not bad. Gets the base. Gets the expansion. But he has to be careful not to overextend. The Corruptors, they're now arriving. Going for the Tempest. Likewise, Mute, he's going to try to snipe the lair. 1 Tempest goes down. 2nd Tempest as well, but the lair, 1 more volley, 1 more shot, it does fall. Goes to the recall. Oh, it does cost him 3 Tempests in total. 3 Tempests for the lair. Was it worth it? Meanwhile, Mute switching into Mass Void Ray. Into Ground Toss. So Void Ray and Charge Lots. Shin behind this is struggling. He does have a healthy drone count, but he's on 3-way saturation. Heavily oversaturated. So he needs that 4th. Just dipping in. Pushing between the bases. Going for the natural. Bold move. And can they get it? Oh, not quite. Grub just forced to back off. They do get eyes on the Void Rays. Again, Mute, he's done with Tempest production. Going to Void Ray charge. Getting a 4th expansion. Shin backing off, rotating around. Tries to go for the 4th. Runs into the Voids. Oh, gets one of the Tempest. Lings, they do collapse in. The Pickles not looking too bad. Show us the Vials. Up on the Voids. Now they zone them back. And Shin, he breaks through the Sky Toss, takes down the Void Rays, takes down the Tempest. The Roach Ravager does struggle though on the ground. So even though the Tempest army gets completely reset, the ground army was struggling. Shin diving in. Threatens the bases. Keeps Mute busy. Rebuilding more Roach Ravager. And all in all, that was not a bad fight for Shin. Especially since Mute is still stuck at home. He doesn't counterattack. So Shin is going to be able to build up once again. So is Mute. Shin has a supply lead. Has his 4th up and running. And we should soon be seeing a 5th. Shin is getting ready for his push. Opening up more attack paths. Likewise, Mute trying to get ready. He's got cannons, he has shield batteries. Storm is not researched, so only arc on production. Corruptors, they go for the natural. And they're going to be able to get it as well. A couple of Corruptors are going down, but it's going to be worth it as the Nexus does fall. At the same time, Shinny hits the fourth. Go for the fourth expansion. Oof. Has to back off, takes down a lot of Zealots. And Mewtwo's going to have a hard time holding on. Cannon goes down. No Storm. No Force Fields. I mean, even against Roach Ravager, won't be able to hold his own. And Shin just zoning Mute away. And he is overwhelming. Behind this, he's taking up as well. Hydrogen's on the way. Infestation Pit. Hive Tech. Shin is taking up, but he doesn't even need to. And GG gets called. It's just too much to handle, and Shin will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. It wasn't a bad start for Mute. Again, killing 2 expansions. He killed the 4th base, he killed the main, he got all the queens. It was not a bad start whatsoever for the Protoss. Unfortunately, though, he wasn't quite set up at his 4th base, wasn't able to protect his Skytoss army, wasn't able to fortify his and preserve his Void Rays or his Tempest. Shin was able to counterattack, and oh, we're going to be able to feature another one of the newer maps. Let's go. Game 2 is going to be on Snowpiercer. Okay. On top of that, even though the Tempest push was successful, if you remember, the lead up to the Tempest push was where Mute was also struggling. His 3rd base was denied twice. We saw 2 cancellations on the 3rd, a lot of Zealots going down. And again, because of the scouting of Shin, even though he wasn't quite ready for the first Tempest push, he had the Spy already done, he had plenty of Corruptors that he did eventually make use of. Did eventually overwhelm. And here we go, we're getting ready for that second game. Going to be loading into Snowpiercer. Oh boy. Another very defendable map as well. I don't think it's anywhere near as severe or extreme as Ultra Love, but very secure 3 and 4 base setup. A lot of choke points, a lot of ramps. Here we go. We are loading in. I'm going to be loading in. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Snowpiercer, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is Shin. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Peruvian Protoss, the blue Protoss player. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is Mute. Not very easy AI. Smooch. Here we go. Once again, a map with a very large main base, so a base like this is going to be abusable and is going to be vulnerable to things like a Blink Stalker play and Blink Stalker openers, likewise drop play as well. Jeez, actually massive, Jesus. That is a thing to bear in mind. Likewise, what I'm referring to, though, are the 3 and 4 base setups. Now, even though we do have a lot of ramps, and even though I do see a world where you can establish yourself on these 4 bases, the ramps are quite large, they are quite wide, so there is potential for aggression, I do want to believe. We'll see. We shall see as Shin is opening up Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of our Zerg player. It's going to be a more standard opener. And my eyes are going to be on Mute. Remember, last game, Mute, he tried to rush into Tempest, but a big reason for that was the map itself, was Ultra Love. We'll see what approach he goes for this time. Once again, a very wide natural base. Entry point to the natural, I should say. As SHIN is building up. And moving out for his scout. And based on the pylon placement, this might be some hidden tech. The pylon is thrown down closer to the mineral line, not further out in the main. And we have confirmation, Twilight Council. Okay, so it's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Mute, working towards either Dark Templar or Glaive Adepts. Oh, is all of this high ground? Interesting. And true, I mean, because of this point of elevation, I believe the Stalker should be able to shoot the Overlord if it does stray a little bit too close. So Stalker is on patrol. So far, SHIN is somewhat in the dark. Going for his third. It's going to be droning. And Mute, so far, he has not pulled out a gas. This is looking like a Dark Shrine build here from the Protoss. But we'll see. We'll see if he does decide to move out. Or pull out, I should say. And there it is. There's the Dark Shrine, as I did mention. If it was Glaives, then he would have pulled out a gas. But he did stay in. So DTs for Mute. This is not an all-in, bear that in mind. This is just designed to get an economic lead. To get across the map, get a couple of drone kills, get some overlords as well by morphing in the Archons, and gaining map control, and macroing from there. As gateways are on the way. And we'll see how SHIN does respond. So far, no safety Roach Warren yet. We've just reached the 4-minute mark. Overlord gets spotted. The Scouts is going to get a little bit further into the main. We'll get eyes on at least some of the gateways. Up! But won't see much more than that. Just spots the gates. I mean, upon seeing 2 Stalkers, it has to be a Dark Shrine. Otherwise, it would have been more Adepts. Back at home, yep, Spore. We have a Spore at the natural, Spore in the main. No Spore at the third, so the third base is a little bit more exposed. But SHIN should be okay. Should be able to hold his own. Roach Warren's on the way as well. Lings, they check the natural. They get eyes on the third. Lings, they move in to force a cancel. At the same time, here comes that War Prism. SHIN, he gets us around. Will cancel. Up! Oh, that was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel on the expansion. Ay, ay, ay. Mute, he was otherwise distracted. Does over in 4 Dark Templar, headed towards the natural. But remember, there is a Spore. Spore does finish here at the third as well. Means they get in position. Nice Evo block here at the natural. And the DTs, they do not get into the mineral line. Oh, the Prism, no! The Prism! It does get too close, takes a lot of damage. Mute does get away. But that was brutal. Mute doesn't get any worker kills, doesn't get a queen. His third base is... oh, it was killed. Heavily delayed. And here come the Lings to deny for a second time. Oh, no. They have arrived, they go for a surround, they force a cancel. And this time, thankfully, it was cancelled. Jesus, that's 8 Dark Templar. Oh my god. And Mute is doubling down. Blink. Blink is on the way for those Dark Templar. 8 DTs in total. It's going to be a Hail Mary play here for Mute. More DT. Jesus, he's going pure DT. My god. Pure Dark Templar. Detection has arrived. With good enough control, yeah, the DTs, they can hold their own against Pure Ling. They're okay. That's 10 Dark Templar. Jesus. I mean, that is a hatchery sniping squad if I've ever seen one. He's moving out. His goal here is to blink in and to snipe an expansion. You want SHIN getting ready. Building up a Roach-based army. That's a 13 Dark Templar. 13. He's going for the main. He's going for the lair. PiGo does dive in. Lair is exposed. Queen falls. Backup queens all the way. He's going for the expansion, and he will get it. Yeah, there's no saving the lair. We'll have to try to recall. Oof, blinking away. There's the recall. And some of the... oh my god. Some of the DCs will escape. And the question becomes, was that worth it? I mean, sure, he killed the lair, which is nice. Lair's being rebuilt here at the natural. But Mute doesn't really have much of an army to work with here. He's now getting into immortal production, which will help. But he invested quite heavily into that Dark Templar harass. And here comes the counterattack. Here comes SHIN. Pushes up towards the third. The Zero turns his pylon. No! Pylon goes down, depowers everything, the cannons and the shield batteries. And with that, there's just nothing left. GG gets called. SHIN, he overwhelms, and SHIN takes the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. SHIN will take the 2-0, will advance on. My condolences to Mute. Again, Mute, he had very interesting builds. I mean, it was a DT opener, but he doubled down. Once it didn't do any damage, he tried to commit, and he did pick off a base. True, did get a lair, but didn't get much more than that. Again, the rest of his army was lacking because of how committed he was to Dark Templar, and in the end, SHIN overwhelmed. Did overwhelm. GG, well played. SHIN will take it, will advance on, and will make it to the quarterfinals. Does SHIN have an opponent, though? Let's find out. Let us find out.